windy, but for this, just for doing the bottom, that would be fine. Okay. I'm going to do this cylinder and take all this apart, clean it all up, put it all back together. I've got some new parts to replace these because I had to cut this off here to get it out when I was welding up the chassis. So I need to take this to bits now. If you want a really detailed view on how you're supposed to rebuild one of these, I'm not going to go through the whole thing in a lot of detail here. Have a look at Old Nuts Garage. He's done a really thorough view on how you take the whole thing apart and put it all back together. So go and look there if you want a really thorough look at all of this. I'm just going to get hacking into this and see what we got. Grind to a hole. Only got a little bit more to go. need all those things going at the same time when you're welding. So try more. And that's it. Super impressed with these cutting discs. It says they're 1 mil, but they're not 1 mil, they're more like 2 mil. Right. Now we can see what's inside. Some rusty metal for a start, followed by a spring, which I've nicked. That's the bit that slides up and down. It's clean. So let's just keep all of that at one end. Wow. Check it out. I wonder there were so many holes in it. Maybe for the sake of ease, I'll take that end off, because I need to count. I need to count anyway how many turns I've got on that. And then it would come out that way. I'm going to have to, I think it went all the way up to there. I think I marked it in red before. That's clever of me. That's why that was up there. Marking's gone, moved. That one. And there's the spring. And that. Yeah. What happens when you don't have any oil in it, I guess. That is a rusty spring. So it's going to go a lot faster without all of that in there. Now I've got to clean all of this stuff up. That's going to be fun. Hopefully this stuff's all serviceable. I might have to take a look at that. Okay, let's get on with the clean-up. Okay, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but so I'm just doing these suspension cylinders. So let me just quickly explain what I've got here. So there's two end caps which look like this. I got them from different suppliers, and one has a little blue seal in it, as you can see, as well as the bronze bit, and the other one I've got doesn't. Anyway, that's the way it is. So what I've done so far is fit one of the caps into the end, and I've been around it and spot welded it. It's not what I'd call a tight fit. The tube is definitely bigger than the cap that goes in it. Look, I mean, that's only because it's out of round slightly, but the trick is just to get the edge level all the way round, and then I can get right the way around it with the spot welder, which of course is nice and simple. Great tool for doing a job like this. And then I've just run a little bit of seam seal around the edge of it as well, because I read somewhere you've got to stick some oil in these things once you've got them going, once you've got them on the car. So I need to do that. So that's one in. Then the other's got to go in here. So I've greased inside the tube. Obviously I haven't greased that. There might want a bit of grease on the bronze bit in the middle, but we'll do that in a minute. And then the other parts I've cleaned up, run through my sandblaster, and this is the orientation of them. So you've got long rod, short spring, short rod, long spring, and then the caps. Obviously the rod goes through the middle of these, and that's the way to get that bit done. These caps basically just have a cork surround to them. Just make sure the cork's on properly and that none of the rivets have come loose, and I think basically you're fine. I found a couple that were slightly loose, so I've given them a tap just to hold them back together, but then we're good to go. So just got to reassemble this lot into the can, and then I can weld the cap back onto the can, and then that's that job done, and we can put it back in the car hopefully. Okay, that's it. So I'm just dealing with the brake lines. So you've got the old and the new here, so I'm just doing the rear ones. Front ones don't look anything like this, clearly, because they're inboard. I bought a completely new set of brake lines in stainless steel, although, you know, as you can see, there's hardly anything wrong with this old one, apart from the fact that it's rusty up here. To be honest, probably could have cleaned all of that up, but you know, a new set is not that expensive, and this car hasn't moved for 35 years, so it's not really worth taking the chance. So I'm going to put some new ones in, and I'm probably going to put silicone fluid in it anyway, so it's better to just get rid of the old lines altogether. So to get the line out, obviously you've got to disconnect from the back of the brake drum. You've got to disconnect the pipe. I've taken the nipple out as well there, and I clean both of those up. And then the actual brake line itself goes through the middle of the suspension cross member. There's a nut here. You can see the one on this side that I haven't undone yet. There's a nut here that you have to undo. Obviously you have to undo the brake line from this connector here, and that's basically it. So there's just a bolt holds it onto the bottom here, so I've undone that just for easier access. And then you can take them out. If yours are anything like mine, then they're in hideous, horrible condition. So I've cut the pipes and been taking them out with all sorts of wonderful tools that you need to be able to do a job like this. So yeah, allow extra time for fiddling about, just trying to get them out. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some new ones back in, do them both on both sides, so we've got nice new brake lines. Okay. We've got the new brake pipes installed in the tube. So a couple of things worth mentioning on that one. Definitely unbolt your what do you call it? Union here, so that you've got a bit more flex on the pipes, so you can move them around. That makes life a lot easier. They are handed, so make sure you get the right one on the right side. I got this tool with the brake pipe kit. I think they charged £10 for it, something like that. It's got a little handle on it. It's made out of a chunky bit of steel, and you stick it in the end with. Hang on, I'll show you. So I was a bit mystified what you do with this thing. So essentially, you stick this thing up the middle of the pipe, and it fits in the little hole. This is the old pipe. It fits in the little hole there, if you can see that, in the end, like that. And then that enables you to manoeuvre the whole thing when you're slotting it in, like in through the end, and then you can move it. To be honest, I'm not sure you could actually do this job very easily without something like this tool. So I'm sure you could make one. It's not complicated or anything. For a tenner, I don't really like buying special tools that only do one job, but I looked at this and it looked like it might come in handy for a few other things, so I thought I'd get it anyway. So yeah, maybe worth a tenner. So that's the only tricky bit, is fiddling with all of that so that you can get these bolts, which are here, and this little tab here has come out of the little tiny hole there. Once you've done that, that's easy. So yeah, that's it, job done. So now I've just got to hook up the other ends, which are easy, and then we've got to do the line from the union here all the way to the front of the car, and that comes across here like my new suspension, and then comes up through that hole there, I think, and then then that goes to the master cylinder from there. Okay, that's it. I'm going to crack on with that part now. So I'm going to get this new suspension can on. So I got the shocks out of the way just to give me a bit more easy access to things. So I think what I have to do here is to slide it in that end first, and then, because there's a slot in this end for you to put the the rod through there before you then tighten things up. So obviously I'm going to have to remove my suspension chain now, so that I've got room to be able to get in there and do that. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to see if I can get this cylinder in. Right. That end in first. Slot that bit in. Now I'm going to maneuver this around the thing. So there's not a bit more elbow room. Need to find another few mil on here. Quite great enough. So I think the answer is not to have the nut on it, just have it loosely in position. There we go. Now it will fit. Then it can push that bit back. Looks. Yep. You can get the nut on. That end. I'm guessing you're just aiming for equal thread lengths at either side of it, because there doesn't seem to be anything else really that you can do on that. So I'm guessing you need to make sure that the bumpers are just about in the right position. What am I talking about? Bumpers. These are what do you call it? Rubber buffers. Rubber buffers, that'll do, won't it? So I think what we've got to do here is put that on. Alright. It goes over there. And then with that in there. Oh, I need to get that on. Nut on there as well. Then we can put this on. And this goes through there. It goes through and holds the whole lot together. Jiggle it around. that side. All fiddly. That's on. Okay. Now we've got nuts. We've got nuts. So these are quite loose, so I guess that's got to go in a bit more. Yep. And that's got to come up to stop the bump stops or whatever they are. That. Moving around too much. I guess these cans don't. I mean, the one on the other side spins a bit, but it's not particularly free, so I'm just going to do it like that, I think. So, seam on the top. Big spanner required. This is a 46mm. Gently tighten these up a little bit. They're too fat. I've got another one that I ground down for this job when I was taking it off. I'll have to go and find that in a minute. May even consult the Haynes manual and just see if that's the correct way of doing things. Tom Gerard, you've got to get the Haynes manual out. So that's got to go over there. That one goes on there. Notice I marked the front one with a bit of blue tape so I didn't get confused. There's a short rod and a long rod, but they're not actually that different. Boots, put them on in a minute. Two of them. And in this pack that I got with all the rebuild parts, I also got some new whatchamacallits. These are the knife edges. So I need those, and I need to get the eye that goes on the end. Okay. Bit of fiddling around there because I did get the manual out, the wonderful Haynes manual, and the Haynes manual shows a series of dimensions that you've got to achieve in order to centralise the cylinder, and then there's this buffer adjustment which I haven't got to yet. But when I try to do this on mine, I can achieve the 5mm at the back here, which I think is probably the important one, but when it talks about the stick out at the front, this bit, I've got something like 20mm and it says you want 15 here. But if I look at one of the old, this is one that I didn't cut up, you'll see that that is more or less the same length as that. So this must have a shorter threaded area on it compared to this new one. This new one's got a lot more stick out on the threaded part. So that's the case. So I'm just going to forget about that bit because I now don't think that that's particularly relevant to it. It's more important to get the inner piece right. So what I need to do now that I've got that done and I've got my rubber boots on and I've got my joints at front and back, is I now need to level up. And there's a whole thing about adjusting the height and what have you. But I'm going to be using this, which I've got across the front of the chassis. So basically I haven't fiddled with the other side, so the other side should be good. So I'm just going to level it up on that. So hopefully if I can make sure we're level front and back, then all will be great. So that's what I'm going to do now. And to do that, you've got to use it says in the manual you need a 9mm spanner to get on this this bit at the front here. I haven't got a 9mm spanner, so this is a 1/8 Whitworth, which is that's got a 8.6, so that's good enough for me, and it fits, so it's going. So I'm going to adjust these now so that this all sits properly. I've got it up on the jack at the minute just to make it a little bit easier to turn these, but when I'm somewhere in the right zone, then I will take the jack out. So that's what I'm doing now.